A news reporter stands outside the Amityville house with police gathered nearby. She explains that they have been covering the hauntings and murders tied to the house for years, including the efforts of a priest who has been trying to stop the evil inside. Next, a car approaches and a mysterious person steps out. The reporter asks him a few questions and realizes from the way he speaks that he is Father Benna. She asks if he is there to perform an exorcism. Benna responds that the house is evil and its darkness has spread from home to home, leaving a path of destruction. He says this will be the final battle between good and evil. He warns everyone to leave immediately because what is about to happen is very dangerous for all of them. Then Benna enters the house alone, where fiery eyes watch him from the darkness. Suddenly, the front door closes on its own, startling everyone outside. The cameraman hands his equipment to the reporter and leaves the area because he is too scared to continue filming. Meanwhile, Benna stands inside the house and addresses the presence directly. He says that he knows it is there and that its time is running out. The evil spirit responds, mocking Benna. It claims to have once stood beside God and suggests that Benna could never match that level of power. The spirit calls Benna a shadow of God and a failure who will soon be erased. It questions whether Benna, who seems small and weak, is truly the one sent to defeat it. After that, Benna begins the exorcism and commands the spirit to leave the house and return to hell where it belongs. The spirit is unfazed and tells Benna that God has abandoned him and that he is powerless. But Benna remains confident that God is still with him, giving him strength. Suddenly, the cross in Benna's hand starts rotating, and the holy water begins to boil. Benna drops the holy water, but the cross rotates uncontrollably, forcing Benna's hand to detach from his arm. Despite the pain, Benna continues the exorcism, and it seems to be working. The news reporters and police watch in shock as the house begins to shake violently and then lifts off the ground. The spirit realizes it is in trouble, but decides that if it is leaving, it is taking Benna with it. Benna falls unconscious and the house is launched into deep space, leaving Earth behind and shocking everyone. 1,000 years later, humans have colonized space and developed the ability to travel between planets. A ship called Wyoming 227 is traveling through deep space on a mission to search for and destroy rogue black holes. The crew consists of Captain Halstead, the mission leader doctor, Nurmi, the chief medical officer, Yakowitz, the weapons specialist, Maitland, the lead navigator, and a cyborg named Vox. On their long mission, Halstead talks with Madame Tice, who is back on Earth overseeing the mission from the space conglomerate. Tice tells Halstead that their job is very important because they are making space safer for exploration and colonization. Halstead reminds her that being in space for too long is taking a toll on him and his crew. He also mentions that they are down to their last black hole destroyer, which means they will have to return after one final mission. Tice tells him they can return home after this mission and even invites him to dinner when they get back. Next, the team encounters a black hole. Vox tells Maitland that this is the biggest black hole ever discovered. Halstead tells Jakowitz to prepare the nuke and get ready to destroy the black hole. As Halstead is about to give the order, Vox tells him to hold off because he sees something unusual. Vox then brings up live footage from the black hole and reveals a house sitting on the edge of it. The team and Vox don't recognize what a house from the 21st century looks like, but it is actually the Amityville house that Benna exorcised into space. Next, Nurmi suggests that the object could be space debris from a derelict ship, but Vox's scans show no record of any known vessel in that quadrant. Vox reports that the object is made of compressed plant-based material, metal, and traces of a life form, even though survival in such conditions should be impossible. Suddenly, a high-energy field emerges. Vox identifies it as something separate from the black hole. An energy shock wave hits the ship, and when Halstead demands to know the source, Vox confirms that it came from the object. Suddenly, a symbol resembling the sign of the devil appears in front of them. Vox tells the team that it is an ancient symbol representing evil. Since they can't destroy the black hole without first checking for survivors in the house, Halstead orders Vox to get ready for transport to the house, while Nurmi prepares the med lab. On her way to the lab, Nurmi senses a strange presence on the ship. Soon after, she is attacked by an unseen force, but manages to escape. Then Vox is transported to the house while Nurmi rushes to Halstead and tells him about her strange experience. Vox explores the house while giving the team a live feed. He encounters a humanoid creature and starts talking to it, but the team can't see the creature. They think the travel has affected Vox's sensors, but Vox insists he is communicating with the creature. The creature tells Vox that they are Legion. Vox describes the creature for the team since they can't see it. Suddenly, the creature grabs Vox's head, and the team loses contact with him. Maitland announces that Vox is completely offline with no sensor readings from his functions. Halstead immediately decides to launch a rescue mission. Maitland questions the decision, arguing that Vox is just a bot and not part of the team. He suggests destroying the structure instead. Halstead insists that Vox is one of them and assigns Maitland to the helm to handle transport. He orders Jakowitz to stand by with weapons in case they need to destroy the structure. Then, Halstead and Nurmi prepare to head out on the rescue mission. The team activates the transport and arrives at the house. Halstead and Nurmi begin exploring the area, noticing how strange the surroundings look. Next, they discover a monitor in a kitchen, which they call a nutrition center, similar to the ones used on their ship. Nurmi is startled when she sees a hand nearby but dismisses it as a trick of the eye. It turns out to be the hand of Father Benna, which had fallen off with the cross. Then they find Vox lying on the ground with no visible damage and no electrical residue, ruling out disintegration. While examining the scene, Nurmi suddenly stops speaking as the spirit forces her into a trance-like state. Halstead calls out to her, demanding a response, but she remains unresponsive and quietly walks upstairs. Halstead follows her as she leads him to a room and points to a closet. Confused, Halstead opens the closet and finds Benna's body inside. Suddenly, Nurmi regains consciousness, but appears disoriented and confused. When Halstead asks what happened, Nurmi recalls leaning over Vox and then waking up in the room. She asks Halstead whose body it is, but Halstead tells her that she was the one who led him there. Halstead then orders Maitland to transport them back, stating that they are bringing a guest and confirming that Vox is gone. After returning to the ship, they place Benna's body in the med lab. Nurmi reports that Benna is alive but in a weak state, with life signals that are not definitive. Halstead suspects that Benna holds the key to the strange events happening around them. Nurmi suggests that Benna might be in a state of suspended animation. Halstead instructs Nurmi to monitor Benna's condition closely and prepares to report the situation to Madame Tice. Just as Halstead leaves, Benna opens his eyes. Halstead contacts Madame Tice and describes the black hole, the pentagram, the strange craft, and the man in suspended animation. Tice jokes that he might be stalling to avoid their date, but Halstead insists it's serious and not a coincidence. Tice asks if he believes they're in danger. Halstead isn't sure, but says it's just a feeling. Tice tells him to send the data for analysis and to report any new developments. In the med lab, Benna wakes up and suddenly strangles Nurmi. When he looks outside and sees the evil sign floating, he becomes disappointed and scared about what is coming. He runs out of the room, realizing the spirit's presence on the ship. Nurmi quickly notifies the others that Benna has escaped. Next, Benna rushes to the weapons room, pushes Jakowitz out of the way, and begins launching the nuke. Maitland shoots him unconscious, stopping the launch. Jakowitz is shocked by how Benna knew about the launch sequence. Meanwhile, the Legion inside the house looks out the window and realizes that there is much more of the universe left to conquer beyond the house. Later, the team interrogates Benna. He apologizes for the trouble and asks where he is. Maitland threatens him, but Halstead orders Maitland and Jakowitz to leave. Halstead reminds Benna that trying to kill an officer and launch a warhead is punishable by death. Benna insists that he is from Earth and says it's the year 2021. Nurmi then tells him that Earth was destroyed by an imploding sun hundreds of years ago and that it's now the year 3015. Halstead asks Benna to explain how he ended up on the structure. Benna reveals that he is a priest who fought an evil force inside the house on Earth. He explains that he begged God for help, and suddenly the house and he were pulled into the heavens. Halstead remains skeptical, but Benna insists that the signs, the pentagram, and the presence on the ship confirm that the evil is spreading. Nurmi questions if this could be true, but Halstead dismisses it as a coincidence. Nurmi remains uncertain, saying that something beyond their understanding is happening. Halstead then orders Benna to be locked up for safekeeping and warns him to behave. After some time, the Legion infiltrates the ship and contacts Tice through the monitor. It reaches through the screen and takes control of her, bending her to its will. The Legion then targets each team member at their workstations, including Benna. It invades their minds and torments them in their dreams, teasing them with their deepest fears and weaknesses. The crew members wake up feeling shaken and disturbed. Finally, the Legion reaches Halstead and reveals itself as an ancient force cast into darkness after once standing beside the Creator. It confirms that Benna's story is true. He fought the darkness but failed. The Legion explains that God abandoned both of them, casting them into a place where God holds no power, leaving evil free to thrive. After explaining this, the Legion plays with Halstead for a while before Halstead suddenly wakes up in his chair. Next, the Legion visits Benna and mocks him, saying it's over. It taunts him about his lost world, his broken faith, and his abandoned God. Benna accuses the Legion of planning to rule the new world, which the Legion confirms, calling people weak and easy to control. It offers Benna a place at its side, but he refuses. The Legion explains that the pentagram signals a foretold cosmic shift. It reminds Benna that his cross and hand are gone, leaving him abandoned by God. Benna questions why God has forsaken him. Meanwhile, Halstead speaks with Tice, who is still under the Legion's control. Tice tells Halstead that the High Council has ordered the house to be towed back home for study. Halstead argues that the house should be destroyed in the black hole, but Tice insists the black hole and pentagram are harmless. When Halstead resists, Tice threatens to destroy the ship if he disobeys. Next, Halstead holds an emergency meeting with the crew and Benna. He tells them about the order from Tice. Benna warns that Tice is under the influence of the Legion. He insists that the house is the source of the evil and must be destroyed. Nurmi suggests planting thermal charges inside the house and detonating them after returning to the ship. Halstead agrees and adds that they will nuke the black hole afterward. Benna warns that the Legion will use fear and deception to stop them. Next, Benna, Halstead, and Nurmi head to the house to set the charges. Benna recovers his holy water. Meanwhile, the Legion learns about their plan through Jakowitz and takes control of him. Jakowitz then heads to Maitland and shoots him multiple times with his laser gun, killing him. After finishing setting the charges, Halstead orders Maitland to transport them back to the ship, but there is no response. Suddenly, they are attacked by strange creatures and retreat to a room. Jakowitz then contacts them and tells them that Tice is sending another team and that he will not help them return to the ship. The team realizes that Jakowitz is also under the Legion's control. Just then, the creature enters the room, but Benna chases it away using the holy water. Next, Halstead uses a manual transmission system to transport his team back to the ship. They head to the bridge to detonate the bomb in the house. They overwhelm Jakowitz and successfully detonate the charges, destroying the house. However, Jakowitz escapes and heads to the weapons center to launch the nuke. The team runs after him, but they are too late. The nuke is already in the air. Nurmi, angry at Jakowitz for what he did, shoots and kills him. The team manages to change the course of the nuke and destroy the pentagram, but the explosion damages the ship's engine, causing it to fail. Next, Benna chases the Legion and forces it toward the transporter using his holy water. Halstead activates the transporter, sending the Legion outside. Benna destroys the Legion once and for all. Benna is then welcomed to heaven by God and praised for fighting against evil until the very end. Halstead and Nurmi are sucked into the black hole. When the backup team arrives, they find nothing except the black hole. After learning this, Tice lets out an evil laugh as she realizes that everything is going according to plan and that she is still possessed by the Legion. The end. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like our channel and subscribe if you enjoy content like this. Also, let us know what movie you would love us to recap for you.